Watching like I'm a star. Your water looks good, but it's a trap from the devil, sucking my mind while it's sucking me dry. Gosh, back in the 80s, I did a record with my dear friend Mark Lee, and the sex song and Sugar in the Water came from that record, and Scream and Scream Again came from that record, and then when we did a follow-up, Guy Who Killed the Baby was originally written for that. Guy, a lot of stuff I've reused. We did a follow-up called Weapons and Wigs, and I wrote Your Water Looks Good for that record, and I kind of always wanted to really do something with this song, and it ended up in the Monster set, and it's literally just about someone saying, I'm not going to get near you because you're bad news, baby. And it has easily the funniest thing I've written, if I do say so myself. I don't want to play with you today because you're the kind of girl that makes a regular guy turn gay. And love the look on people's faces during shows when they weren't expecting that. And glad I could finally put it on a record. And I wish I had thought of this before filming this. I wanted to count how many times I said suck in the song. I think it's about like 100 some odd times. I'm like, suck at me, 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 suck at me. I really liked, I love the song. I'm so glad I did it. It was with the Monster set that premiered at the Fringe Festival, and I really don't know what to say. All of my music ministry that started with Not Unclean in 2004, all of it goes back to a particular day when I was driving in my car and I heard Joan Osborne's song, One of Us. What if God was one of us, just a slob like one of us? And it's funny. I pulled my car over and cried. It was. I think since I was a kid, I think since I heard like Joni Mitchell, Big Yellow Taxi on the radio for the first time, I don't think I've been this moved ever. The song, aside from being beautiful and flawless and discussing how we really have no idea what God would look like right now if he were here in the flesh, but I was having a moment where, you know, Alanis Morissette had just become huge, and she was all like pseudo-spiritual, and now this Joan Osborne came out of nowhere, and she had this amazing song about God, and I went, wow, everything's religion now, man, everything's religion, and this is my time. This is my time to start doing this project, and I'm sure that was in the 90s when that happened, and I'm thinking 97? I don't know. Yeah, right around 97 I'm thinking. And I was so moved, and I went and wrote this song, Everything is Religion. And when I say in the song that's a self-congratulatory slut just won a Grammy, I was talking about Alanis Morissette, and everybody knows, you know, who knew me then at least, knows that I have this profound love-hate thing with Alanis Morissette. Yes, I remember hearing You Ought to Know for the first time and saying rock music has hope, but then I heard the whole record, and she's saying things like, I have one hand in my pocket and the other one's giving a peace sign, or the other hand's playing the piano, and I wrote shit like that when I was 12. And I realized that this was a really undeveloped talent that had a really strong voice and two really good songs. And but anyways, going back to the song is about how everything's wrapped up in our religion and our perspective of religion, and I had no idea that my ministry would be so much about tearing down the strongholds of religion, attacking people's fantasy about how life's supposed to look and how God's supposed to look and how Christians are supposed to look and act and sound, and I had no idea, and there's so many symbols in that particular song. Pie in the Sky was the name of a movie that I had to go review because I was working as a film critic, and it starred Aneheim, who of course became a big star after that. And I remember I was just at that point in my journalism going, I can't stand doing this anymore because I have to keep kissing up to people who make crappy movies, and the song was layered with so many things that were bothering me that day, and that's why I say I'm in an argument with the whole human race. And it's on Monsters now. It's called Religion, and when I say hark now hear the angels sing, looky here a wedding ring, hark now hear the angels cry, me and Mrs. say goodbye, I think I'll just walk down the street and give this ring to the first whore I meet. That's exactly what I did with my first wedding ring. I was married for a second to the woman who inspired my classic, if I do say so myself, Desire. No hard feelings, got a great song on the deal, but I was sure mad that day. And there was a homeless guy that was, well, he was hustling in a really weird part of LA, the San Fernando Valley actually, to have a guy turning tricks in people's cars. So I went up to him and I gave him my wedding ring. I didn't know what to do with it. So I first had it appraised. It wasn't worth anything, so I gave it to the homeless guy. And the homeless whore on the street, I did. I mean, it was worth like 60 bucks, and I said, you know, I'm gonna give it to him, and I told him, I said, it's only worth like 60 bucks, and I said, but I went there and appraised it, and I showed him where it was, and he said to me, he goes, well, don't you want me to blow you or something? And I said, only if you're gonna give me back 40. I have never told anybody that. And he looked at me, and he was like totally confused because he thought I was serious. And he goes, how am I going to do that when I'm holding a piece of metal? And I said, dude, I was just kidding. Take the ring, get lost. And yep, that's Religion. And Scream and Scream Again is the next song on Monsters, and it's one of my oldest songs. I hate to say I wrote a song when I was 15, but if you hear the song, damn, it's good. You know, and just, you know, realize that I was pumping that stuff out at 15. I wrote that song for a man named Tomato Duplanty. And anyone who sees this immediately, you know, who knew Tomato and knows the reference, you're gonna, I don't have to explain anymore that I wrote a song called Scream and Scream Again. Scream and Scream Again is the name of a Vincent Price movie that had a better name than it had a movie. And Tomato was the lead singer of the, as Jello Biafra of the Dead Kennedy says, the greatest punk band that never got a record deal, the Screamers. And anyone who's seen my shows, who's seen the Screamers, knows that I don't have an original bone in my body. Much like my hero David Bowie, I've stolen from everybody I admire shamelessly, and there never was a better stage persona than Tomato Duplanty himself. And Tomato was twice my age, at least at the time, and I went to see the Screamers at the Roxy in Hollywood, and I sat there during the show saying, that's who I'm going to marry. So I was 15. I guess I just turned 16 because I had to have driven there. So I was 16. Wow, I wrote it when I was 16. And I said to my date, Sky Sweet, everyone remembers I did this. I said to my date, I'm having a great time, but I'm going to marry Tomato Duplanty. So I went backstage, and I had to wait to talk to Tomato I'll wait.